Welcome everybody for the fourth race of the FAI World Series. Tonight, my name is Jean-David Toby and I will comment the race. Antoine Ave will join us in a few minutes, hopefully. And we will see this race tonight with you. So, as I said, it is the fourth race of this competition. The three first races took place in Mexico, in Canada, and in Morocco. And tonight we are pleased to fly in the sky of South Africa. So let's begin by discussing and detailing a bit the task for tonight. We'll speak about the rules, the task itself, and a bit about the weather. So about the rules, tonight it's a FAI 18-meter class race. So we have no handicap, which means that no coefficient will be applied on the final score for the pilots, so they are free to choose any plane tonight on the 18-meter class. We have no restriction on the water ballast loading too. And this is a racing task, so a speed task, not an AAT. Well, let's speak now about the task itself. Tim, can you show it up? Thank you, Tim. So, tonight the pilot will fly in the region of Kimberley, which is in the middle of the South African country, as you can see here. So the pilots start the flight southwest to the city of Kimberley. As you can see here, we have multiple points that represent the different pilots around the starting airfield. For the start, they will go straight north to the first turn point, which is right there in the mountain. For the second turn point, they will turn left and they will cross a small mountain which is inside the second lane, and they have to be careful because on this second leg we can see a red zone right here which corresponds to an airspace of the Army of South Africa. And even if we are a very good organizer of race, we were not able to dismiss this area. So the pilots will have to fly over the restricted area. This area is from the ground to the flight level 75. So it is about 2,300 meters today. If they cross this airspace, as it is prohibited, they will have some penalty points. So be careful, fly safe over this restricted area. When they will join the second turn point, they will finally turn left for the last leg, which will make them going to straight to the starting airfield in Douglas. So the total length of this task is 375 kilometers. The task setters consider that they will do this race in 1 hour and 45 minutes to 2 hours approximately. So as it is racing of speed, this time corresponds to the time they will spend after crossing the start line and before crossing the finish line. So now let's speak about the weather today. So it is half past midday here in South Africa for the race, and the pilots will face wind from the northwest. The speed is about 20 kilometers with light turbulence and low medium variation. The thermals today, the cloud base is 2,650 meters with some cumulus clouds, so we won't expect blue thermals. We will see cloud in the skies. The strength of the thermals is moderate and they will face a normal wind thermals. We can expect a bit of wave turbulence, so they may use it to climb faster or to find a better way to the finish line and to go faster. And we have a small high cloud coverage. As you can see here, now we have with the different pilots. So I am discovering with you this landscape of South Africa. As one of my friends told me, it's kind of a dry region. We will see some small salt lakes around this area. And as it is very dry, the energy from the sun um, comes in the thermal quite easily. So it is quite a good region to fly thermals in South Africa. To the north, this kind of region goes to Botswana, and to the east it goes to Johannesburg, and to the west it goes to the Orange River. So it is a very large place to fly in South Africa, and we will see the speed that can reach the different pilots tonight for this race. Okay, so here with the Condor landscape, we can see that the weather is quite corresponding to what I've described to you and what the task setter decide to set. So we can see some small cumulus clouds, but with a good coverage. It is quite homogeneous over the region we fly today, and a small high cloud coverage. So now the pilots are flying in this region over the airfield for about 10 minutes now, and they wait for the start line to open. Okay, so the start line will open in 1 minute and 30 seconds. So from this time, we may see pilots to cross the start line and to try the first leg to go as fast as possible. We can see on the right that the start door has a limit vertically. So I will try to find this information. Okay, so I don't have it right now, but the pilots need to go to fly below the start limits to have a valid start. So we may see that the pilots right here are way above it, and they have to manage the altitude and their energy to take the best start from this line we can see over there. Right now, they are a bit over all the region because they are trying the different thermals. They expect they will go to the first leg and see what will happen in this direction to start making some strategies. These strategies right now can be going the first to have the best thermal in the beginning of the race, or to follow the other pilots ahead. So I can see that some of the pilots uh, are here for the four first races. I can see Whiskey Romeo Whiskey and other pilots. So I will try to find the overall ranking from the three first races. So the first ranking has been made from the results of the three first races, and we have three Hungarian pilots who are on the podium. On the third place, we have Norbekis, Charlie November, he may be here tonight. We have Mihaly Knos in the second place and Thomas Meyer in the first place. So tonight we have more than 60 pilots joining us for this race. So we may find the three pilots I mentioned before, but there are lots of them right here. So as you can see, there is no strategy right now because the start line hasn't opened and the pilots are staying really, really high. So now the starting line is just open, and we can see some pilots that are going a bit lower, like Papa Victor 0, who may be the first to cross the start line. So here you can see Papa Victor 0 and the other pilots Victor 88 who are crossing the lines. On the bottom of the screen, you can see some information of the race. You can see the instant altitude of the pilot. You can see the instant speed, the instant variometers, and the distance flown on the task. Also, you can see the name of the pilot and the type of glider. I don't know if we have the majority of glider tonight. I don't know if it's maybe the 23 of 18-meter class and the GS3, which are the two gliders used tonight mostly. Okay, so for the people who are joining us right now, we are on the fourth race of the FAI Virtual World Series, which takes place in the sky of South Africa. We are live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Don't forget to subscribe. It helps us a lot to find the motivation to organize some stuff like that, and we are very happy to have feedback from you. And never hesitate to ask questions on the different channels. We will see your comments and we will respond to your questions. So with this type of weather, we can expect pilot to stay relatively high after crossing the start line. So as I said before, a strategy is to go searching and looking for good thermals after the start line. And when you find one of them before crossing the start line, you can find it back. It is way easy now with some computers to point one of the thermals and to try to find it after crossing the start line. And then you have some kilometers after the start line that can be predicted quite easily. You don't know what is after this first kilometers, but you can define a strategy for the first ones. So here you can see Alpha Mike in his GS3 18 meters. He's quite high right now. He has left, I think, a good thermal where we can see Quebec 3 or Mike Alpha Yankee right here. And with this idea of a good thermal right there, you can start the line, cross the start line and go back to this position to find the energy. Or maybe you will see another position, another thermal. So we have November Papa X-ray in is 23. He is now going straight up the first leg. He has flown just 10 kilometers right now. So even if he has crossed the start line, he can make another start if you want. If he think the first start is not good enough, he can go back to the start line and take another start. It will reset the time. Okay. Okay, so right here the pilots are still in the region around the start line, trying to set the strategy. And we can see Juliet Tango right here, Janice Teteris from Latvia. Janice participate to two races right now, and it is third. So you may know that for this World Series we are doing 14 races, and for the final ranking, only the 12 best races of one pilot will count in the final rank. So he may not participate to all of the races, but Janice has all the chance to still win this competition at the other. Okay, so here you can see that a few pilots are in a good thermal right here with Eco Alpha 7, Eco Juliet Eco, and Uniform Whiskey Echo. Uniform Whiskey Echo, Uwe Melzer from Germany, who is a famous Condor pilot. We can see often on the FAI World Virtual Series races. But he's quite high. I don't know if he crossed the start line. So okay, so Uri Meza has not crossed the start line right now. Bravo, Bravo Fox Benfest is also a famous pilot. He was the world champion last year, so a very good pilot. Now he's ranked 75 on the global ranking, but he has made only two races, so he does not accumulate enough points as he if he does the three races. So he is one of the pilots to follow during this race. Okay, so as you can see, we are here in a quite flat region, so no dynamic thermal or no dynamic air movement can be used. Um, I am quite excited to see what we will see on the ground after the first leg, because we could see a mountain on the map, so I don't know if it's quite high or not, and if some dynamic winds could be seen, because it will change a lot the strategies. As maybe Tim, you can show the Cunham map. If we have this with a bit of um, terrain to see, and because as we saw on the map in the first times, the mountain we are flying next to is oriented north-south, so it can be very useful during the first leg to. Okay, so now we have the map, and we can see that the terrain is very flat on the beginning of the race, and during the end of the first leg, during the second leg, and during the third leg, we have a bit of mountain, but I don't know if they are enough high or enough vertical to generate dynamic movements. So we will see. We will see if the pilots decide to choose to try the dynamic air mass or not. And this is quite interesting because right now, no pilots have been there, so they are not able to know if these mountains can generate enough lift to go faster. So maybe some pilots will try, and others will only consider thermals like flatland, and we will see these two strategies. So here you can see some pilots. a bit ahead of the rest of the pilots. You can see that X-ray Bravo X-ray is now the first on the race. Tim, do you know if X-ray Bravo X-ray has crossed the start line? So X-ray Bravo X-ray, as you can see, uh, has done some kilometers away from the start line, but he has not started the race. So he will have to go back and take a good start to make the race. Actually, it will be quite difficult to establish some very distinct strategies here because, as I said, the sky is quite homogeneous. So the pilots may go to the best-looking cumulus clouds right after the other. So with this kind of altitude above the ground, they will have time with an 18-meter class to select quite good the good thermals and to let the weak thermals uh, to make the average speed growing up. And here with the wind of northwest from 20 kilometers, I don't know if we will see very very large decision, which means I don't know if some pilots will go away from the tracking from the different legs. Now the good strategy could be to go direct to the next turn point to select the good thermals by looking at the cumulus clouds and to hopefully be the first. So now the strategy to go first is, to my mind, not the best one because as the Condor, you can see quite good the other pilots ahead of your position. So having some pilots ahead of your position could be a very good advantage to select the cumulus clouds and to make dolphin flights to your destination and to your objective. So here you can see some pilots that are quite low above the ground right now. The strategy here can be a bit tricky because in region where there are more population, you have in real life, and in Condor it's the same, you have some points that generate lifts and we know them. As the forest don't, you have some copper fields or some crop fields or things like that generates strong lifts. So you can choose on the ground what you expect. But here the region and the ground look also quite homogeneous, so maybe it's a bit tricky to go too low because you can't choose as easy as if you are high, because choosing a cumulus right today is more easy than choosing the right spot on the ground. And you can see here the pilot so Richard Usher in his GS3 has some trouble to find a good thermal. The value you can see here, I repeat, is the instant value of the vario. It's not the average one. You can't we can't display it tonight, but with some lines behind the position of the glider, we can see that its average climbing is not as good. Okay, so here you have an interesting position. So Laszlo Orsi, Echo Juliet Echo, is one of the first pilot of the race. And I see. With the first view, I was expecting him to do a very long straight line before finding the good thermal, but you can see that he's targeting this small cumulus cloud, I guess, before trying another one. And here we can see he is trying this thermal. So directly behind him, Victor 88 and Whiskey Romeo uniform will try to join him. The air mass is not dry but not very wet, so the cumulus are quite spaced between two of them. I don't know, it may be about 5 or 10 kilometers between each cumulus cloud. So you have to find the right one and to select good to have a great average speed. Okay, so now you can see that Echo Juliet Echo is leaving the thermal. You can see with the tracking here, the brown line, that he has not climbed a lot on his 3 or 4 turns, and he took some retard from the November Papa X-ray, who decided to go straight to the next thermal. We have Juliette Tango on the left, who goes on the head of the race tonight. And you can see that the weather he's facing is quite the same as we can see on the beginning of the race. So as example, here you have 3 shadow on the ground, and he could have joined one of them, and by looking the cloud above, he will choose the best for him. So Tim, maybe you can show us the 3 clouds to have an idea of what he's targeting. So yeah, so we are speaking about the 3 clouds that are on the top of the screen. Yeah, so here he has passed through another thermals, and we have a medium. We have a very small cloud on the right, a medium in the center, and a bigger on the left. So the all the essence of virtual gliding and gliding also is to find here the good thermal. So here, as they are generated by a computer, you can have some idea of if it's growing up or if it's dying. So here he's targeting, I think, the middle cloud between the small one and the bigger one. Okay, so maybe you can see, and now he's targeting the smallest one, and this type of cloud is typically the type of cloud who demonstrate a growing up thermal. So a thermal that has been created just a few times ago, and this type of cloud uh, is quite interesting to find a good thermal. So maybe, Tim, we can go to the overall map to see how many pilots has crossed the start line and if there are different directions that are chosen. Okay, so on the 60 pilots tonight, we can see that maybe a third of them, or maybe half of them, have take the start. And as I said, there is no very distinct decision. They are all going right to the first turn point because, as the weather is homogeneous, it is the best strategy. So, for those of you who are joining us right now, we are looking at a map of the fourth race of the FAI World Series tonight that takes place in the sky of South Africa. We have 60 pilots racing tonight, and we are on a task of 375 kilometers. To have a small reminder, the weather is 2,300 meters of cloud base. We have a wind from the northwest of 20 kilometers. And probability to have some waves, but with this type of flatland, it is not very expected. So do not hesitate to ask your questions on our different channels. We are live on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. And we will see your question, and we will be happy to answer them. So now we will see another point of view of this race, because we have the chance to see the POV of Wojciech, who is flying tonight. And this is quite interesting because we thank him for this type of content. We can see him on the very low left on the image. He's racing with a virtual headset. So this is a very interesting setup, because he can move his head as he wants in the glider to see other pilots. It is very interesting to mention that this competition is a free competition, and we expect all the pilots to fly safe, to fly friendly, and we expect them also to respect the security uh, in this flight as they were flying in real life. So the VR set is very good stuff. So he's waving his head. Hello, have a good flight, and we hope you the best for the summer to full fun. So here you had a very good example of where the headset is very interesting, because he had Kilo Juliet above his head, and without this type of setup, he wouldn't be able to watch him. And oh, okay, there was another pilot right there, and you have another example of the information you can get from this VR headset, and it's Uwe Melzer. So now they are flying to the first turn point. You can see also that we can see the computer of these pilots on the bottom right of the image. A lot of pilots use this type of computer because it gives a lot of information of the flight. You can have average climb on your thermal. You can have your statistics data on the overall flight. You can find a lot of information that are very useful during a competition. In a speed race like tonight, it is very interesting, but in AAT, so in sectors area, it is way more interesting to compute the distance flown and the average speed on the task, to have an idea and to be right on time on the finish line. Okay, so I don't know if we have his average climb. So here he's climbing at 2.5 meters per second, which is a quite good speed, a quite good thermal. Okay, so maybe Tim, you can show us the condor and the position of Wojciech in the condor, because there is a lot of pilots right there flying in the same thermal. So maybe we are seeing the middle of the ranking tonight. Some of the pilots. Okay, so a lot of pilots are uh, before this pilot, and I don't know if he's crossing. He has crossed the line now. I try to find this information. So We saw Uwe Melzer just before, Uniform Whiskey Echo. And maybe I can see them. So you have Kilo Gillette. Okay, so I found them on the map. It was not quite easy because they haven't crossed the start line, I guess, or they just did. Uh, there are some other famous pilots. We can see that 269 is a French pilot, Donapierre Luigi, who is uh, a great pilot on a Condor and in real life. He's flying in the French Alps in the real life. Okay, so here you can see the different pilots. So you have Benfest here in Bravo Fox, you have Donna Pierre Luigi, and you have other great pilots. And they often have this strategy to wait until the last time, until the right time to cross the start line. And it is not because they are crossing the line at the end that they do not have a good average speed on the all task. So this group of pilots at the end of at the end of the race is not to forget. Okay, and some of the pilots who were on the sermons are doing long right legs. And maybe here we are seeing first team flying. I don't know if they are flying together, if they have a strategy, but it is quite interesting when you have a team, whatever it is, a national team or just a friend team, to fly like they did, three ahead with a horizontal space, and then you will search the thermals way better if you can communicate with your team, your teammates. One of them can say, "Oh, I found a good thermals, turn right," and then the three pilots are turning right. So there is some strategy to fly a team. It is a work to learn how to fly like this, and some national teams like all the teams but Poland, Germany or France are teaching their pilots to fly like this. And here you can see they are waiting for the right time to take the start. Okay, so as the pilot have done some more kilometers on this race, looking to the map. Okay, so you have now the pilots uh, that are spread on the first half of the first leg. Some pilots are waiting before the start line, and we can say that 80% of them as take the start. The weather today looks quite good. They do not go too low. They are between 2,000 meters and 3,060 meters above the sea level, so it is quite high for this region, and uh, and is it is a good weather for this task. Maybe Tim, when you can, you could show the average speed of on the task and the distance flown to tell us a bit the statistics of this race. Oh, okay. So Antoine is about to join us in a few minutes, so we'll welcome him when he will be there. I know that a lot of people are awaiting him, famous guest of our World Series. So now, welcome to Antoine Ave. How are you,
Hey,
Antoine?
hey, hey, good evening, Jean-David. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. Sorry for the delay. Tight, very tight timing for me tonight. I'm just discovering the race. Actually, I think we can look at Kunam later on. Yeah, I was working all day, and I couldn't get any Wi-Fi or anything to check the task before, and I was watching the race commented by Jean David on the way back home to see
Yeah,
what was going on, and I saw that the gliders uh, uh, were just waiting before starting the race, and now apparently some of them have started some minutes ago, and it seems to be a fast flight for now.
it looks, yeah.
I see maximum safe altitude for arrival 1,300 meters, max speed for crossing the start 170 kph. So the start is going to the north to turn point one. That's what we see. There is an active zone. Is it real
Yes.
airspace that is in the
Uh,
simulator or not?
I didn't find the actual map of the airspace in South Africa, but when you see the QNAM map, you can see that there is a military zone on the ground. So I guess it is quite a real
Okay,
airspace in this region, and it is an airspace that goes from the ground to 2,300 meters. So if they can, they go over this airspace, but
okay,
if they cannot, they have to fly over that fly on the side. But in the second leg, it is very large, um, a very large path. It has a lot of distance to go on the side, so the pilots have to manage well their altitude to avoid this area and don't take some penalty points that are
okay.
uh, very hard in this competition, because if you target the first place, as I guess they all do, you don't want to have penalty points.
Yeah, that's for sure. I see it's 375 kilometers, the race today,
It
and
is.
it should be completed in 1 hour 45 to 2 hours. So it should fly at around 170 kph, maybe 200 kilometers per hour. There is no wing limit. It's 18-meter class, so Antares 18, SG29, GS1, GS3, DG 808, Ventus 3. So it's quite good, and the weather is wind from the northwest for 19 kilometers,
Exactly.
uh, medium thermals more or less, high cloud activity, and so on. So it's a good looks like a good task. By the way, the story behind this task is that the Saipem Grand Prix of South Africa was actually supposed to happen and to take place in Douglas Cape, which is on this landscape, and this landscape was done a while ago by Michel DGT and his landscape team. So it was done really a while ago and released a while ago. I believe there's been some tests already online on that landscape. And in the end, the South African guys changed the location of the event from Douglas Cape to Worcester. So we've had on the virtual side to create a new landscape. Well, uh, Michel and his team had to create a new landscape in Worcester to make the event work there. I believe it was quite a nice Grand Prix there, and quite a nice virtual cycling Grand Prix as well, with amazing lakes, mountains, and so on. It's
Mhm.
very different here with a lot of flatlands. Uh,
Yes.
if if you see, well, if you see a little bit how South Africa is, Worcester was close to the southwest, close to Cape Town, I believe, and this is more to the center or northeast of South Africa, not very far from Bloemfontein, where the Junkers airplane, well, gliders or airplanes are made actually, and it's all flatlands and bombastic weather quite often. So it was supposed to be like this for a week, and then they moved to Worcester. Anyway, that's why we wanted to come back here, because there was a nice landscape
Yeah.
that was made here, and we wanted really to try it out there, and we picked up the 18-meter class for sure, because of Junkers, for sure.
Obviously. And do you know, in the overall work, how they did the landscapes? Do they use some satellite data and some map data like Google stuff, or?
Well, it's a bit special for the landscape, because you need to get free data,
Mhm.
so it's not always high definition data. So the creator of the landscape, they need to manage to find the good data at the right place, and they need to ask as well sometimes the authorities to have the rights to use it, because it's not a commercial landscape. They don't sell the landscape; it's available to everyone for
Yeah,
free.
for free.
So it's kind of the thing around the landscape. So if you don't know a lot how Condor works, Condor, so the gliding simulator has its own landscape that is not built on satellite data yet, and then other people create well, personal uh, landscape, and they share it with the community, and then you can download your landscape, or the ones you prefer, or the ones where the tasks are, like what we are doing today, and you can go and fly there and discover the areas. So it's quite cool. Yeah.
Okay, so now I can see, maybe Tim, you can display a bit of the Canaan maps to see how many pilots have crossed the start line and where they are spread on the task. So I can see that all the pilots have started the race, and they are spread over the two-thirds of the first leg. So, Antoine, do you think we will see a very different strategy with this type of homogeneous thermal weather, or they will go maybe straight to the next turn points by
No,
selecting the cumulus?
yeah, I think they will try to select the cumulus because the weather looks quite good, but they should, and I believe they will fly as straight as they can to the next turn point every time. You will not see big deviations and so on, because as you said, it looks quite homogeneous, and in the area there, it's often the case as well, very homogeneous, much more than in Europe, with a lot of forests, lakes, and so on.
Yeah, exactly.
Where it's really different. But yeah, in South Africa, it looks much more like this, with very good weather. So I believe they will go straight to the turn points, and I believe that the strategy around the flight is very different than what we have in Europe. Uh, I believe that what you want to do today in this type of task is to fly with the best of the best and try to stay with them and stick with them, because they're supposed to make the best decision and to take the best thermal. So what I would do if I was an intermediate pilot in the event is to try to catch the good guys and to try to stay with them as much as possible, because maybe they will fly better than me, they will climb better than me, and I will lose them at some point. So what I would do
Yeah.
is try to catch them ASAP and try to stick with them. It might be difficult to do at some point.
Yeah, maybe you can say a few words about the objective of this competition. What type of pilots do you want them to join the race? Is it organized for world class competitors, or maybe some pilots that have not small but less experience in Condor can join this race? Is it open to everyone?
Yeah, that's correct. So that's really open to everyone. We don't want only world-class pilots. really know, everyone knows in the community who are the top pilots and who are the guys doing good performances. There is no secret there. They are there for already 5, 10 years, 15 years, doing amazing races, and they really know how the game works and how they should fly to get the best results out of it. So we have the virtual Sailplane Grand Prix which is a more elite part of the sport, and we have world championships that we have here with the World Series, which is very open. Even if you're a beginner, you can try the races, because even if you outland, okay, you will score a few points and you will improve and get better and better. I
Mhm.
think the most important is to try, and to try to fly with good pilots as much as you can, so you can try to understand how they make this decision, when they want to leave the thermal, when they want to climb more or not. And I think that's why we are doing this event. Actually, it's to help the people to grow and to have better pilots, to or at least to help intermediate pilots to reach a better level, I believe.
Yeah, and in our previous events, we can see multiple profiles doing this type of race. We have only virtual pilots that love condors and who are able to know exactly what will be the next thermals, because the cumulus cloud is like this and not like this one. They are specialized in condor, but we can see also some pilots that have not the time to fly in real life, so they decide to fly in Condor. But we can see some pilots who are just learning how to fly cross country, and they use Condor as a learning tool to, as you said, observe the good pilots and to learn about their flights by flying with them. It's quite interesting to see all these different profiles that are sharing the same passion for this simulator.
That's exactly true, and it's very funny because I flew today with well, my captain was flying gliders before, and he wants to fly gliders again, but he doesn't not have the time to do it. So maybe virtual gliding can be a solution. And when he will have more time in holidays or when he retires, he will get back to gliding, real gliding. But it can be a solution for him to do some virtual gliding from time to time, or to get some competences, some skills in gliding. And I flew with a cabin crew as well, who was doing some gliding at an airfield 1 hour away from here, and it's exactly the type of profile we are looking for to join virtual gliding, because he had almost 50 hours of flight, and still needs to do a lot of flight to be able to be uh,
To be
safe, happy,
comfortable, yeah.
yeah, like to, yeah, to know how it works really. And I believe that Condor can help a lot, this type of profiles, this type of pilots who do not have the time to come as much as they want to the airfield, and try maybe try to connect them more with the sport, so that they
Yeah.
don't just forget about it and then come back 3 years later or 10 years later or 20 years later. Try to keep them into the sport, and when they have more time, then they get back to real flying. But it can be an intermediate step to learn, or to just keep your skills as well.
Yeah, and I have to admit, I used Condor mostly with my flight instructor for the first part of my learning of how to fly. But I forget Condor for maybe 3 or 4 years. But with the pandemic, we all know, I've tried flying Condor with some friends, and it was a totally different experience from flying alone. Because when you're flying alone, you have to define yourself the task. You know what you will do, and it is very different than participating to this type of content, because you have the surprise of the task, you
The
have the
race, yeah.
surprise of the weather, and in this World Series, you have also the the you don't know
The competitors,
the
yeah,
landscape.
yeah, and the
The landscape is
landscape
the
as well.
competitors, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and the really good thing with the World Series, well, the first race was, for example, in Mexico.
Yeah,
There's no gliding in Mexico. There's a lot of paragliding. We talked about it. As there's been almost no glider whatsoever in Mexico. No gliding done there, but a lot of ballooning, a lot of paragliding, as I said. And we wanted just to discover the area and so on. And for the pilots, it's really fun to do, just to fly one race in South Africa, one in Chile, one in Mexico, and so on. So it's really really fun to do. Actually, I would like to do what they're doing
yeah, yeah.
now,
You too, as
and I bet you would love to do it as well.
yeah, exactly. We are
Yeah.
speaking about our frustration right now. Maybe not the best entertainment, but
Yeah,
we have to speak
but
about it.
actually, I'm telling this right now, but as I said, I've had a full day of flying, nine hours of flight today already. I will not jump into the computer now to do the flights. Now I will not have the energy to do it. I can comment to do the race and so on, but to be really focused and to really enjoy the race, I think you need to be to have a lot, well, at least some power to give
Yeah,
some
exactly.
energy. So,
And
but
it
yeah, I would.
needs a lot of energy because when you are flying condor, it's quite you have to be focused on your flight. But when you are flying this type of races, you have pilots everywhere. We saw it previously with the POV of Wojciech. There are pilots everywhere. You have to fly safely, so you need to be focused on the other pilot, but also on your strategy. And this type of mindset, this type of focusing, it's really the same as we can find in the real life. And if you are competing in the real life, doing some exercise in the winter is helping you to have the right mindset during a real race, to take the good decision at the good moment, to analyze well. This type of reflection is totally the same as in real life, so it's very very interesting. And maybe so we will focus on
On the
the
race.
race back.
Quickly, I was thinking about it. Where
So,
are we?
for those of you who are joining us, we are on the fourth race of the World Series. We are flying, France pilots are we're flying right now in the sky of South Africa. The task is about 375 kilometers, and how now we are here on the first leg, right to the north. And I can see something, yeah, very interesting. Some pilots are now close to this area and this restricted area. And in the counter view, maybe Tim, you can display it for the first pilot. So for Juliet Tango or yeah, thank you, Tim, Golf Delta Tango. We can see that this restricted area is shown here with some lines, and these pilots that they have done a really long straight line before going into this. I won't tell it's a thermal because they do not climb, but they try to reach a thermal, and finally, the restricted area is not that high compared to the cloud base, but if you are going too low, like these two pilots, you have to be very careful of the restricted area because it is not that far away from you, and you don't have to go in this position. Maybe Tim, yeah, you can see on the right you have some other pilots that are quite near to the first two ones, and they are in a way more comfortable position. I don't know the history of the way they took, but maybe it was a better energy line than Juliet Tango, for example.
Yeah, I'm looking at it on Qdumb. I believe Juliet Tango did not stop and continued to well, he did get lower and tried to get a good thermal, but he didn't find anything good. And I believe that Eco Telco Zulu Lima 7 and 76, they stopped in a moderate thermal to not get low, and now they pushed a little bit more, and they got something much better afterwards. So they have a good climb now, and they can try to get to the next, well, to turn point one, which is quite close now. I believe
Yes.
maybe 20 kilometers maximum.
Yes, and when we see this restricted area, if you are going too low, it is going to be like a wall you can't go over. So we could see the first bad decision, or the first uh,
Mistakes.
yeah, some mistakes here, because if you don't climb enough before this restricted area, you may be very blocked before it, and you will lose a lot of time, because you will not need to climb, you will must climb, and
Yeah.
this is where the previous decision have a lot of impact. And you can see here that Eco Juliet Eco or Eco Alpha 7 before him are way up than Whiskey 22, and we may see some differences in the ranking there.
Yep. Still watching. I believe. Well, Jean-Noël is a bit low. Victor 88, a bit low, and I hope he will find something. I've seen Eric Aubert, Echo Alpha 7. I believe getting a good one. We've seen in uh, pulling, pulling, and pulling to try to get the good climb. He is on top of everyone, or at least almost everyone here. We see TKM, Team Matson, a bit below. Eko now has something as well to climb into, so that's interesting. And we are heading towards turn point one. The leg is how long is that? 122 kilometers. The length of the
Okay.
of the first leg, 122. Then we are gonna go into turn point two. From turn point one and turn point two, there is 92, almost 92 kilometers. And from the turn point two to the finish line, we have 161 kilometers with some wind pushing us towards the airfield.
Yeah.
So some tailwind on the last leg. So that's the almost the most difficult one. The second one will not be very easy as well, with the wind coming from the right.
Yeah, and
Now
with
it's
this
coming from our left. That's why they are all on the right, because they were pushed by the wind. And maybe the cumuluses are better on the right as well to get to that turn point. It's a bit messy here. From what I see on that image, you have a lot of gliders here. There's no real group, no real gaggle here. It's kind of everyone is flying his own on flight, which surprises me. But behind, with Quebec Tree, it looks like there is at least one gaggle. Quebec Tree, Jet Kilo Kilo as well. Yeah, we have Marcin May, Maymar, a Polish guy with Jeroen Jenen, JJJ. Alpha Echo X-ray is Alex from Netherlands, I believe, or the UK, but I believe Netherlands. I'll check
Yeah.
on Condor Club. So it's a good group. I would probably fly with those guys. Just below you have Mike X-ray, Mikko from Finland, who's done some great events in the virtual Saint-Pelin Grand Prix. We
Mhm.
have Zulu Bravo Yankee, the Polish guys as well, were there. So I would probably fly with those guys. Or I would have waited for those guys to start to start the race tonight.
Yeah, but you don't have to forget the end of the pilots, because at the end we have some very very good pilots. We have Uwe Melzer, we have Benfest, we have Donapia Luigi, uh, who are almost the last of the pack. So it will be quite interesting to see how they manage to have a better average speed, and how they will go up and up in the rankings. So they will have an opportunity to see where the pilots are stopping. And as you said, they all they all are full aware of who are the good pilots. They will choose the thermals with this type of information. They will see the pilots, the position of the good pilots, and it will be a great help to take good thermals. So we don't have to forget this group of pilots at the end of the pack. But maybe, Tim, you can display us the average speed of the first pack to have an idea of the performance today. Oh, and we can see Eco-Quebec, Emmanuel Cartier, who is flying with this group. Okay, so with about, I think, 100 kilometers done, we have average speeds from 100 kilometers to 140 kilometers. So it's quite a wide range, actually. I didn't expect this information to be so wide, but it is interesting to see how they manage to fly until the end.
So, for your information, when you're looking at the screen, the pilots from 1 to 20 are the ones who are the most advanced in the race, meaning that number one is Echo Jet Echo, with the first one going to turn point one, then 76 is just behind him, Jet Tango just behind, and so on. Meaning that the top 20 that you see on your left is not the actual, well, it's the actual top 20 going to the turn points, but it's not the actual top 20 in terms of average speed and points you would earn at the end of the day. So you have the speeds on the right side, so you can see more or less what are the speeds, because they don't start at the same time. So the position is a bit different compared to the speed that they have or that they are flying.
Yeah, you are right to mention this information.
Because, well, mainly the background behind this screen on the left is that we're using that information as well for the virtual Saint-Plain Grand Prix, for sure, and for the virtual SGP we have the same start for everyone, same start, same gate, same start time for everyone. So the average speed is correct on the left, but it is correct here as well, but they started the task at a different point. There is a window of, I believe, 40 minutes, maybe more. It was 60 minutes today, so 1 hour window, and they can start when the gate opens directly, or they can wait maximum up to 60 minutes to start the race. And that's where all the tactic
Yeah.
uh, and strategy is, because you probably have to wait or will wait for the best pilots to start, or to start with them. And maybe for the beginners, you would start earlier because you know that you're not going to be able to catch up the best pilots, or you're not going to be able to complete the task if you start with the best one, because you will lose them after only a few kilometers or dozens of kilometers, and then you're going to be stuck. So, and it's going to be difficult to move forward and so on. So often the first ones to start are the beginners, or those who are not confident to finish the race on time, actually.
Yeah, you are right. But we have some surprise time to time. We have the Belgian pilot Jet, who has made a great performance in the first flight of the World Series.
Mhm.
He has started in the first pilots, and he has arrived quite well. He has won the first race, if I remember well. So yes, he has 1,000 points. So he has won the first race, and he was one of the first to rise. So it was quite interesting to see that the good pilots didn't manage to make this performance. But if I remember well, in the first race, the start hour was more late in the evening. Here we start at midday almost, so they have
Yeah,
plenty of time to do a great performance right there.
yeah. That's correct. I'm looking at the overall results of the World Series so far after 3 races, and if you don't know, well, you can check on the virtual FAI virtual gliding website, or on Condor.club. You can look at that quickly. The top three, so the podium so far after 3 races, they are all from Hungary. So,
Yeah.
so three Hungarian pilots leading the competition so far. So Tamas Mayer, who's competed in the first virtual SGP already, and Michael Knoos is second, and Norbert Kiss is on third position. All of them already qualified to the Sailplay Grand Prix World Final second edition. So I believe they know how to fly. They fly well and they flew well. So
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
it's it's a big performance from the Hungarian team. Actually, they are followed by Wojciech Soltysik, sorry Wojciech from Poland, who qualified as well to the World Final. David Redman from Australia, who qualified as well to the World Final. Marcin May, sixth position overall, who qualified as well the Virtual SGP World Final. So we talked about it a few minutes ago, and yeah, we know who are the best pilots. We already know it for quite some time, and they are on top. The aim is to try to get more pilots, more intermediate pilots to fight with the top pilots and to try to beat them at some point, and for the beginners to just try to improve their skills, or at least to just be able to fly for fun. It's really the aim of the game. We have some Japanese pilots who are flying with us as well, with the other servers. At least 3 or 4 of them are in the top 20, top 21. So it's really nice. Yeah, really nice to see. Yeah, there are quite some Japanese pilots actually. So that's why we have other servers, because if they fly at that time, it's 3 a.m. in their country.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of an issue for them. So we have three slots. Actually, some US pilots as well, some Canadians, but we would like to have more countries, much more countries than that. And I believe it will come with the time this year. Some communication still has to be done around virtual gliding. I'm doing so on Saturday, so in 2 days, there's a big event in Belgium, a gliding event where people can come and try the new gliders, the STEM, the GS, the Ventus 3, and so on. And there are some presentation around gliding and so on, and I will be there to talk about virtual gliding, about Sailplane Grand Prix, probably about other stuff in gliding. Will be very interesting. There is Klaus Ullmann coming as well to talk about
Yeah.
his flights and so on. It will be really nice. So it's going to be in Namur on Saturday in the middle of Belgium. If you are around, please be welcome to join, and we will be happy to talk with you about any subject around virtual gliding or around gliding. Just
And here we can see that the first pilots are reaching the first start point. Zulu Lima 7 has
yeah,
reached
this is the
it,
first one.
and it is the first one, yeah. So now the next difficulty will be to face this restricted area just ahead of him. Maybe Tim, you can turn the camera to see what he will face. So, as we said before, this restricted area is finally quite high. Now he's flying at 2,400 500 meters above the sea level, and the restricted area is 2,300 meters above the sea level. So he has only 300 meters to left. So if he was on the restricted area, but so it is not quite easy, and it will be a bit stressful for the pilot, I guess, to think about this restricted area and to manage it well, thinking about the altitude they lost with this area. Okay, so EcoJet Eco is keeping his mindset to fly really high, to have a lot of potential energy, and is really focusing on it, I guess, taking the good thermals to be stuck on the cloud base, and it is quite a good solution. I think you will not be as stressed as the other pilots to think about the restricted area.
Yeah, indeed, and you fly much faster as well when you're flying higher. That's something that you don't understand when you do your first competitions or your first flights on well cross country flights. You're not in that mindset. You're focusing on the fields and so on, and you don't understand that to fly fast, you need to fly high because you have the true speed, the TAS, that is much higher when you are higher than when you're lower. Less friction as well with the air, and so on. So it's much more interesting and much more relaxing.
Yeah,
In summer, moreover in summer, you don't have that hot air that burns your face and so on. You fly at 20 degrees Celsius instead of 35 when you are just below the cumulus. At 2000 meters, so it's really much more comfortable to do that. And for sure, if you can try to stick to the clouds,
yeah.
you should aim for
Especially,
that.
it is a good question in Condor too, because even if it's a simulator and the thermals are computer generated, the simulator has implemented a map of the terrain, so the thermals are generated depending on what terrain are below your feet. So you can manage to find the right position by looking on the ground to find a good thermal, but it is quite hard in the real life, and it is also in Condor. And it is much more difficult when you can see this type, exactly this type of landscape. Imagine for the pilots who are quite low to find a position where the thermal is starting is very difficult because you can see this all dry area. It is quite homogeneous, so it's a bit of hazardous to find the right spots. You can see the cumulus way above your head, but with the wind, which is generating drag and which is uh, deviating the thermals, it is very difficult to anticipate, to compute the right
Yeah,
position of the starting point in the ground. So here, knowing that you you don't you should not go too low because it's difficult to find another thermal. You shouldn't go too low because there is a restricted area. It is, I think, a good option to stick on the cloud base.
yeah. From what I saw on the briefing, it's written, beware of the SA80C zone. They have lowered it to flight level 75. So that's 2,300 meters above mean sea level in the race now. So you should be able to cross over safely. So indeed, the pilots are asked to fly above 2,300 meters. And as you can see, the cloud base is much higher than that.
Yeah,
So John 76 is at 3,350 meters now, and is really not yet at the cloud base. So he can really climb to 4,000 meters or almost 4,000 meters and just fly through that zone and try to stay high. That's something that the task setter wanted to try out, and in Condor generally for the development of Condor and for the next version, we need to try as well those restricted areas to see if it works with the scoring, if it works on your PDA that you have in Condor and so on. So it's important. That's the aim of the game this year with the World Series as well. Attract new pilots, help the beginners to grow and so on, have better and better pilots throughout the races, and as well test everything we can to have a solid competition next year with good rules and so on, to have something that is uh, proof
yeah,
yeah, that has been tested actually, so that it can work next year. That's really the aim of the game. There's going to be a lot of issues, errors, mistakes, still a lot of difficulties, I believe, for this year. But we need to do those tests those tests to be able to find solutions before next year, so that at least we have less work and less difficulties next year, and that everything works out.
Yeah, and you speak about the organization and the mistakes we can do, but it's also about listening to the pilots that who are flying the race and find the right solution that they like, even if we speak about frequency of the race or the duration or the time we set the task. So it's all of this we are trying here. So that's why the competition is also free now. We want a majority of the pilots to join us and to give a comment.
Good, yeah, good feedback, so that
Yeah, exactly.
focus feedback on some points so that we can improve stuff. Uh, Sometimes what is very difficult with some feedback that we receive is that uh, some pilots don't see the background that is behind when there is a decision that has been taken, or when a rule is made like this and not like this. It's not that we didn't think about it, it's that there are some restrictions on FAI side or rules side or simulator side. Sometimes we are restricted, but sometimes it's something that has to be changed because there is a true issue and we need to figure out how to do it. For example, we've had an AAT task, so assigned area task. So that's something different than what we have today, which is a racing task, going to turn point 1, 2, and 3 very straight. But assigned area tasks are big circles where you can fly through kind of more free flights, and you try to score points in these free flights in a different way than what we have here today. Anyway, and there's been a scoring made for this type of flight. It's been working out quite well on the scoring website for some years, and now that the things are becoming more official, the people now find new issues, new problems that were here before, but that no one noticed. And now the people who worked on the website, they had to modify a lot of stuff to be able to make it work in the end, because they never had any issue and they never thought there was an issue. And in the end, yes, there was something not working, and it has been uh, managed and dealt after a few hours of work, a few days of work for those people. And that's why we're really doing all of this. We need to figure out what's working, what's not working. Anyway, let's get back to the race. We are between turn point 1 and turn point 2, and the pilots need to fly higher than 2,300 meters, because there is a restricted area controlled by ATC just below, and quite nice clouds as far as I
Yeah,
see.
the clouds are quite good, but we saw 8 kilo that was going down. It went to 2,500 meters, so just 200 meters above the restricted area. So it is quite low, and it should be a very stressful moment for him going low. And he has to find the thermals. Whiskey 22 was not there before, so he has to find the right thermals. And maybe he had an idea. He knows how to find the thermals, and it was not stressful. But in real life, to be 200 meters above a military restricted area can be stressful. And as you are a competitor, Antoine, how do you manage this type of moments when you know you are low and you have to find a thermal? Can you explain it in real life? And in Condor, it's the same.
um, well, it's the way it's working in gliding is that sometimes people think that it's a dangerous sport, that we take a lot of risk and so on, especially in competitions. But that's actually not the case. Uh, how it works is that when you fly, you mentally prepare what's gonna happen before the flight, and then in the flight, you're just making choices. But when you make choices, you always have plan A, plan B, and plan C. And when plan A is not working, you're going to plan B, and you're actually already building up a plan D. So you always have three options. And actually, when you start to get very low, it means that you've tried a lot of things and that it didn't work at all. So probably the weather has got much worse than what you expected, and in one of your plan, so D, E, F, whatever, there is the plan to Outland, which is the last plan, but you already thought about it some time ago, and you know already which fields you in which field you can land out or not. You have selected the field and so on. And once you have done that mentally and you are prepared to outland, you don't have actually to focus on the field because you already know more or less what you're gonna do. So you feel less stressed about it, and you can more focus on how to get back safely in a good thermal and try to climb again to get back to the flight. What happens in that situation is that you will probably be able to find something and to climb, but we usually say that you're gonna lose about 20 minutes in your flight, in your performance, 20 minutes compared to other pilots who did not make that mistake and did not go that low, because the thermals are not as good when you're low as when you're high. And as we said, there are much more turbulences, friction in the air, less ground speed when you're low than when you're high. So it's much, much better to fly high for sure. But sometimes you don't have the choice because, as you can see behind on top right of the screen, there was not a good cumulus. Here it's really good. So there's no
Yeah.
real risk when you push. But sometimes you believe, well, you have maybe a 20 kilometers straight line to go. You need to fly just to glide to that cumulus. It looks good, and then when you start to arrive just below 5 kilometers away from it, you're like looking at it and it doesn't look good anymore. And then you're just below, and you're like, ah, it's not gonna look good.
Not going to happy.
And you're really hoping for then the next plan to work and for the next cumulus to work. But then the next one, maybe you're gonna be really, really low. So yeah, anticipation is key in the sport.
Yeah, and this
And
is what type of behavior we can see now. We can see
yeah,
the pilots that are grouping together to find the right thermal. And like 8 kilo or Tango Kilo Mike right there, you take the more energy you can in this cloud to go to the next one. And previously we didn't see so much pilots just on the just at the cloud base, but now they are really really high. You can see it's about 3,500 meters, and for example, didn't has here plenty of space to climb and to not be in the future bad position to be low. So it is a very different strategy from we saw previously. So maybe Tim, we can go to the QNumber map to see um,
yeah,
how the pack has group or has extended because okay, we have a lot of pilots around the first turn point. So at the start of the race, we could see that the pilots were spread over the two-thirds of the first leg. But right here, I think that they are uh, grouping a little bit, and the last pilots are flying really fast and they are joining the middle pack of the pilots. We can see that Ben Fest, Uwe Melzer, you can see on the right, you have Bravo Fox and Uniform Whiskey Echo, who were at the end of the pack of the pilots, and they are slowly climbing the ranking, I guess, and they are flying really fast. And together, we will see at the end of the race if they manage to be in the first third of the pilots or if they stay in the same average speed than the other. We will see.
we will see. It's going to be quite interesting. There's already quite a big group who passed that turn point one, going to turn point two. As we said earlier, it's going to be very, very fast, going from turn point two to turn point three to the arrival. Really fast. I believe 20 minutes. I believe 25, maybe 30, but I believe around 20 minutes because it's 120 kilometers, something like this. So they're gonna fly very fast. If they are at 4,000 meters with
Yeah,
the wind pushing them, it's gonna be super fast.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm looking forward for that. That's the most difficult leg because they need to be above that that ATC restriction, that restricted area. They need to go to pass safely above, and then we'll probably try to not be too high on that turn point, and they should try to get a thermal just after on turn point 2,
Yeah.
and to just climb with the wind pushing them towards the arrival. Yeah, that's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, if we can see about 2,000 meters of energy to loss from the top point 2 to the arrival, it will be very quick.
Yeah.
And maybe Tim, you can show us the end of the group with the Donna Pierluigi 269 Uwe Melzer. Yeah, right there. They are all flying in one group, and they took a very strong lift, I guess, because they are quite high. They are 3,400 meters right now, and maybe we will see their strategy a bit and how they fly together for a while. Maybe we can analyze their flight for a few minutes. So you can see here the pack of pilots, of famous pilots in the world Condor scene, and they are quite close together. They are flying in the same speed, and all this group needs to stay together. As you said, it's a strategy to find the pilots. You know they are good and you know they are flying very well, so you can follow them and you can help yourself with their position, with their strategy. It is always the hardest position to be the first and to take the lead, to take a decision, because you may be wrong, you may be make some mistakes by choosing the thermals or whatever, and the autopilots behind you know this information and will have another information to decide. So here uh, you have Donna Pierluigi, who is
Hmm.
um, almost the same of this small group, and now he will leave the thermal because
Yeah.
he's arriving at the cloud base, and he will join all the other pilots. And you can see that their lines, their route is almost the same for every pilot. You have a small lateral spacing, but they are following the same strategy. So in this small group, the final ranking is about one or two decision maybe, because as they are following each other, it will be very very close, I guess. What you can say about this strategy, this type of pilots who have the same level of flying and who flies together. We can see that they are flying 250 kilometers straight to the first turn point here.
Yeah, exactly. I think they waited as much as they could until the window, uh, well, the gate, the window ended and closed. And that's one strategy when you're very good to try to catch up than everyone else in front of you. That's more or less the safest strategy if you believe that you're one of the best to have the best average speed, because you should have the thermals in front of you marked, and you should see what are the best cumuluses to take or not. That's something that's done as well in real life, for sure. It's not only in virtual. That's a good strategy. This strategy has been impacted a lot in the recent years by the implementation of the maximum start altitude, because the maximum start altitude is around 200 meters below the cloud base. Okay, but that's at 1 p.m. Let's say. Okay, and then some pilots they wait 1 or 2 hours, and the cloud base has raised by 200, 300 meters, maybe more, and then you're still stuck to that 1,300 meters maximum altitude. Let's say. But now the setting is at 1,800 instead of 1,500 meters, and you're actually in the intermediate um, zone of the thermal instead of being in the highest zone of the thermal, and you're not going to be very close to the clouds, meaning that your first glide towards your first thermal is not going to be as long as the pilots who started earlier, because they were much closer to the cumuluses, and they should have had best options, and they should have been able to stick more to the clouds than the ones who started later on. So that's something I was not very fond of when they released that rule a few years ago, and I'm still not a big fan of it. I believe that in Saint-Plain Grand Prix, it's very important because you have 20 pilots. They start together close to well, with a very short start line, and they really all start together at the same time, and it's quite dangerous if you add with that cumulus problems and so on. You never get out of it, and you need to have safe races. But in European or world championships, I'm not a big fan of it, because the window the start window is open for 1, 2, 3 hours, or is unlimited. It can be open for 10 hours until the end of the day, basically, and you are restricting the first leg of the pilots who decide to start later when the ceiling is higher. And I'm really not a big fan of it, because before you would have the choice. Well, you had the choice to start later, and you had quite an advantage to do it, because you would start with a higher ceiling, and you will be able to catch up the ones in front much easier than what it's today. It really, I find it more difficult now than it was
Yeah.
before to start later, and that's not an advantage for sure. For at least for the base pilot, it's not an advantage anymore. You just need to fly as best as you can on the first few dozens of kilometers to be able to catch the first one, but it's much more difficult than before. Yeah.
Yeah, it puts all the pilots at the same level of energy at the start line. So the difference in the ranking will be seen only on the decisions they make during the race. So it is
Well,
more difficult.
they have at the time that they pass the line, they have the same energy, but actually the second after, if you start uh, after the first pilot, you would have less energy, because the ceiling
That's right.
has yeah, is higher actually for the first glide.
Mhm.
Only for the first glide. Then it's going to be much better if you climb higher at 1,600 and 800 meters. That's for sure. But for the first glide, I believe it's less good. But that's a topic that has been discussed already, and so on. They need to take decision at the IGC. There are a lot of delegates, one delegate per country at least, who vote to take decision like this. If you don't know how it works, basically there is one gliding commission, and they have 1 or 2 sessions per year, and any country can propose any new rule in the section 3 of the rules, so gliding section of the rules, and then the delegates, they just vote yes or no, I agree or not with the change that you're making or with the new rule you're proposing. And that's all how the rules are made and changed every year. It's much easier with virtual gliding now, because we're just starting. We can add a rule tomorrow and remove it the day after, and so on. We can really manage it like this for now, because it's still well, it's a small community, and we try to hear everyone and to get the feedback from everyone to change that. But yeah, in real life, it takes a lot of time to change the rules, and you need to find agreements with other delegates and other countries and try to convince them to change the rule.
Mhm.
Same for handicaps, when they change the handicaps, because there's going to be a lot of moves, a lot of changes in the market. If you move the handicaps in club class, for example, it can downgrade a lot the price of your glider and upgrade a lot the price of other gliders.
Yeah.
So it has a big impact on the handicap, for example. So you need to vote those stuff, and you need the people to agree if it's a good rule or not. Yeah.
Yeah, this type of decision are very technical and are made with, as you said, in a very high commission. But
Yeah.
it's interesting to speak about feedback because previously we speak that we try to improve our races, whatever it's about the pilots, about the organization, etc. But we are also listening to the viewers, so do not forget to comment the race. I see that Team Hungary has made a small comment to encourage their pilots. As I said, they were on the podium. I hope they will fly fine today. So it's quite good to see the fans on the comments. We have Julieta who say hello to the team. So don't hesitate to ask some question, to say your feedback if you like something, if you have some ideas to improve the entertainment of the show, our commentary, our analyze, or whatever. We are open to any ideas, so don't hesitate. You are about 20 viewers a few minutes 20 viewers a few minutes ago, so you have 20 of brain to give us ideas.
Jean-David, let's go back quickly to the race, and then I want to talk quickly about the next races of the World Series.
Yes.
So some pilots already passed, and some of them on the screen are passing that restricted area where they needed to fly above 2,300 meters. If you're just joining us, a small try here done by the task setting team to try and to check if the things are working, penalties are working, and so on. Can we check who is behind those guys, team? Yeah, just do a 180 and we can see who's behind.
Wow,
Yeah,
this is very
perfect.
straight.
Yeah, everybody is behind. With as you can see, there are some nice communities on the way here. So they have two cloud suite options, but they more or less all take the one that is to the left side of the screen, so on the north side of the task. So that's quite good. They flew 181 kilometers. Those guys on the screen out of 375 kilometers, and they are more than halfway through
Yes.
the second leg from turn point one to turn point two.
And it is very interesting to see all these pilots to go very straight out of the restricted area. I think they are going very straight to be the first and to go very fast to the next leg because, as you said,
Yeah,
it is not it's not a problem to go not very high to the next turn point because if you take the a turn mode after turning the second turn point, you will be dragged to the finish line. So taking a thermal just before the turn point may not be the best
the best
idea.
option. Yeah.
Yeah, if they need to, they will do because as we see, the altitude is about 2,400 2,000 meters, and they may need one thermal to reach the second turn point safely. But after this thermal, I think they all go straight to the second turn point and to do the final leg very quickly with the wind behind, taking good thermals, climbing to 300, 3,000 or 4,000 meters, and going to the final glide until the eye roll.
Indeed, Jean-David, I'm looking at who's here. So it's very funny because we've seen some of the best pilots behind who started as late as they could to try to catch up the ones in front, and then we have that group with Alex from Netherlands, with Marcin May, Polish guys, TKM, Zulu Lima 7. We know those guys. Ronnie Lindell from Sweden in 8 kilo. JJJ, Alpha Mike, and Arne Martin Göttler from Norway. So we see a really big and nice group here leading the pack. And we have another very good group with at the back of the race here trying to catch up everyone. So it's quite interesting. The strategy that they have here is quite interesting, both of them. Some believe that it's going to be better to start earlier, to have the best cumuluses, and to be able to be sure to finish the race. and some believe that they will be able to finish the race and they will try to catch up everyone. But that's a big bet when you start late.
Yes, and speaking about the group who are maybe late in the race, I can't see where Wojciech is placing, but maybe we can go to its live to see his point of view of the race right now. I don't know if Tim you have this view. I'm looking for its position. The so we want to see the live streaming of Wojciech.
Ah, yeah, the live streaming. So he's flying still with the VR headset, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So he's only turning the turn point one, as
Yeah.
we can see, direct live. Okay, so nicely done. The first turn point is done.
nice, nice, GD. Nice, really nicely done. No, that's super interesting. Yeah, once again, I'm telling him every time, but thanks to him for sharing this stream. We have the GPS, the PDA on the right side. You can see ground speed 233 kilometers, test speed around 143. 143 kph, so that's quite good from what we've seen previously before 10.1. It looks like quite a good average speed. um, Distance flown 18, no, distance to go 89 kilometers. mm, I'm not sure, but nah, yeah, distance
Yeah,
to go to the next turn point
yeah, from
18,
the next turn
89.
point exactly.
Correct. So yeah, it's really interesting to see. You can comment in the chat if you have a VR goggles. I want to see who's have one. Maybe. Well, I'm sure I'm gonna buy one day. Uh, we will see when, but I believe it brings a lot of things for us in our sport in virtual gliding. It brings a lot of situational awareness, as we say, and it's really really good. And I believe with the next version of Condor 3, it's gonna be so good that everyone will be like, okay, I'm gonna
Yeah.
just pay 200 300 euros to try this out, because it's gonna be just mental, I believe. So really looking forward to that. Still in progress, development in progress for sure, but yeah, everyone is looking for that.
Yeah, it's a really good setup to have this VR headset, and if you are not thick with it, you can buy it, but I will try it before buying. And yeah, we have a comment
Yeah.
from Norberkis who said hi, and he said good luck to all the pilots, and he will try the race, but on the next server. So we hope he will do a very great race on the next server, but we will sleep in the European time.
Yeah, I believe, yeah, Norbert will fly tomorrow morning European time, or tomorrow, yeah, end of the morning. I believe it's 11:30, but I'm not sure. Maybe 9:30 UTC, the
Okay.
last slot. I think 9:30 UTC, so 10:30 European time. Anyway, yeah, good luck, Norbert. Really good racing so far, and he will do a live streaming. So if you want uh, tomorrow at 9:30 UTC, you can jump into an orbit stream to watch his race from the inside, because we are watching here from the outside, all the pilots, uh, and yeah, you can watch from the cockpit. Can we get some close-up views from the gliders here, team? What does a glider look like? Yeah, let me see those wings. Nice.
And that
Nice, nice. So
wingspan you don't have in a 320.
yeah, so that's a GS3 revelation. Amazing glider in real life as well. Very stable, and compared to the previous generation, so SG29, Ventus 2, and so on, it does accept much more the wing loading, meaning that when you're really flying with full loading, it's more or less like you're not flying with any loading. It's a bit it's not exactly like this for sure, but you can still feel the thermals and so on. And with the previous generation, where when you were flying with full loads, it was much more difficult to feel. Is the thermal on the left, on the right? I'm not sure. And yeah, with the Ventus 3 GS3, you can really feel where the thermal is, even with full water in your wings. And it's just crazy to see how far we went with the development of gliders. It's crazy. A really nice Ventus 3 that we've seen a few seconds ago with Eric Aubert as well. Yeah.
Yes, they did a really great job, and I saw some articles about the conception of this glider, and they are helped by a lot of computation to compute the stresses inside of the structure, to anticipate the behavior of the composite structure, and to develop it as best as they can, because glider in composites were made from a lot of time, from the 50s, the 60s. So now we have a lot of information and a lot of knowledge on this type of behavior and materials, and we can develop very precise gliders as they all do. Now the Ventus 3, the GS3 are very technical gliders, as well in the conception and in the computation, the optimization of materials. It is very, very interesting from an engineer point of view. They are
Mm.
making a really, really great job.
So we've had our first pilots turning turn point 2 and going towards the arrival. That's Ronnie Lindell, sorry, from Sweden, TKM, Tim Madsen. 76 is here as well. Can we get the next ones? So close to the turn point, the followers, we have Eric Aubert equal fast 7. I believe we passed the turn points. I'm not sure. Let me check quickly. No, he didn't yet. He is climbing and then he will pass. That's a small mistake, Eric. In the Ventus tree, we have JJJ who passed the thermal. Who passed the turn point, sorry.
Yeah, it is like we anticipated, because as we speak, the pilot didn't took a lot of thermals. They went really straight to the turn point, except from Rick, sorry Rick, but they all turned the point quite slow, quite low. Sorry, you can see here, 1800 meters. It's not the altitude we saw previously, and here with uh, it's quite low, so they will have to choose the right thermal, but with the right thermal they were able to climb back to really high altitudes and to manage the final glide quite well. So okay, I've noticed
Arne Martin, yeah, turning the turn point 2. We're gonna see some of them turning now, and some of them are trying to take a thermal just afterwards. So that's interesting. Maybe they are already one good thermal here.
yeah.
Okay, Robert Hogan. We have Alex in front of him as well.
Okay, so they are leaving the thermal, which should be just after the turn point, and a small group is creating with Juliet or Tango Kilo Mikes. Actually, they join Eric because when they turn the turn point, they saw Eric climbing in front of them, and he was not so far away from the leg, so they decided to go really straight to these pilots
Mamma
because
mia!
they have the information. What a view! We all
Nice.
know that we are thrilled to do this type of turn in real life. That's what we expect.
That's what I like to see. Thank you, Tim. Next one with Stewart Henschel from the UK. I believe Stewart already qualified to the Virtual GP World Final as well. I'm almost certain on that.
Yes, so now
Really nice.
around 12 pilots have turned the second turn point,
Yeah.
and we will see if they manage to climb very high.
That's really good. So that's a GS3, so Jonker sailplane from South Africa. This glider was built in South Africa. I think it went out in 2015, 14, 15, maybe earlier for the flight test, but I believe I tested it out in 2015. I need to check. Not
If you have
sure.
the answer in the comment before Antoine, you can leave a comment.
Yeah. Or I need to check my pictures. Yeah, first flight 2016. So
Okay, you
later
were
on. So I
not.
believe I tested it 2017 or 18. I believe. Yeah. By the time we had one in Europe. Yeah. Yeah. Really nice glider. I was really surprised at the time by how much it can accept the load. Yeah. Really crazy.
Maybe Tim, you can show us the weather to the final turn point, to the finish line, because yeah, no, I thought it was maybe a bit drier than what we have seen before, but actually it's always quite
Yeah. It's
obvious that there are a few good cumulus up there, and by looking on the shadow on the ground, you can see some energy lines that could be found by the pilots to reach the end of the race as fast as possible, and they are already quite high. I don't know, 76 or Whiskey 22, their altitudes, to have an idea. Find it. Okay, so Whiskey
I have
22.
an information, a quick information.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Tim Madsen live streaming right now. It's climbing at around 4.2, 4.4 meters per second and passing 3,300 meters now.
Okay, so
Looks like looks like a
this is an
good
average
climb.
climb,
Yeah,
right? Okay.
average climb rate, and it looks like. And I would like to see his PDA afterwards and to see what's the height in it to reach the arrival. So I will have a look on his stream as well, just to see what's missing for him, how many meters are missing, so that we can more or less try to anticipate in
Yeah.
how many minutes he will be able to reach the finish line.
Yeah, now the pilots in the last thermal are reaching uh, 3,500 meters, so it is quite high. Do you have the information of the distance in the final leg, Antoine? I can't find
Yeah,
it anymore.
I have that from turn point 2 to the finish line. It's 161 kilometers, a bit longer from than what I said earlier. 161 kilometers, indeed. So yeah, maybe 30, 35, 40 minutes. We will see. We'll see. But that was just to keep you with us by the time.
Yes.
No, no, just kidding. No, no. Seriously, you can try to bet 160 kilometers. How long it will take with a ceiling of 4,000 meters? Maybe Mark till we try to make a bet because he does know a lot about the weather here today.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I will. I will wait for its comment on the live chat.
yeah. Actually, he was not the main. I believe he was not the main guy preparing the task today. But he has a lot of tables and so on to be able to check what are the expected average speed and so on for each glider, as he's working in a beta team development team of Condor for quite a while now. So he has a lot of stuff to know what are the average speed for each weather setting and so on. Anyway,
Okay, we have the first three pilots that are leaving the thermals. They are leaving the thermals at almost 4,000 meters, so the race to the finish line is on.
I like it. Uh,
Yeah.
I would like to talk quickly about the next race to this four series. So it's race 4 today in South Africa. We're going to have race 5 in Germany on the 6th of April. So that's going to be in about 15 days. You have a race every 15 days, and then in European summertime, just one race per month. But next one is in Germany, and I'm looking forward to have Benfest and Uwe Melzer or any German guy who want to come. Maybe we can have Stefan Langer with Benfest as well. Um, I can ask if you want, guys. There's going to be a race in Germany. Germany is quite interesting. Well, South Africa, we went there for junkers to have a race there. And because we created that race in Douglas Cape for the virtual SDP, we wanted to get back to Germany. Why? Because, well, there are some events in Germany. There's been one virtual SDP last year, but we want to try some regions where there are not a lot of competitions in Germany, like the north part of the Alps, so the southern part of Germany, maybe south of Munich. It's not decided yet, so either we will go, and that's biggest probability to the Alps. Either we will go to a place like the Wasserkuppe, something very historic, or yeah, well, the place of of Jemperf. So we will see, still in discussion, but basically we will make a decision with the German pilots working with us on the event. Then the race number 6 will be on 1st of May in the UK, the United Kingdom, and what we want is to have the British people involved more in the virtual gliding as well. They have a strong community. We see more and more UK pilots coming and joining. They have a great country where you can fly gliders. So they will decide. I bet they will make a poll, maybe, or will propose, offer them some spots, and they will choose a spot there. We would like to have a Sailplane Grand Prix in the UK. It's not easy, but we would like to have one in the coming years. There's been already some discussions with some guys there. It's a strong place for development of sport and of races. It's the biggest place it's where they have developed Formula One, and it's where you can probably develop some sailplane races. There, then we'll have Greece and USA. So Greece end of May, 29th of May. Then USA June the 15th. Why? Because there is a Pan American contest in the US. Then we'll go to Spain, Denmark, Poland, Brazil, Chile, Japan, New Zealand, and Australia for the last race of the year. That's it. So next race, Germany on the 6th of April, probably north of the Alps, close to Munich, so south of Munich. To be discussed and to be confirmed, but probably on AA2 landscape, which is a safe landscape that everyone has on his computer, more or less. So that's the biggest probability so far. What can I say about the glider? I think so. It's already decided, all of this type of race, class, and so on. But you know that only a few days before, or 2 or 3 days before, quite often, so you don't have too much time to prepare sometimes. Maybe it will change. Maybe we will announce that much earlier every time. We've done open class, 80 meters and so on. Maybe we'll jump into a 15-meter club class or whatever. You will see what's gonna happen for that. Let's get back to the race, Jean-David. Where are we?
So we are now in the final leg of the race, and the pilots are going straight because they were quite high, leaving the last thermal. And you can see that the small group of 4 pilots who decided to leave the thermal at the same times are quite near together at this moment, and I think that the final time of this race will be played here between these 4 pilots, and we have Echo Juliet Echo who is flying just after this small group. I don't know if he is a bit higher, so no, he's at quite at the same altitude, so a bit late on this final time. So for those of you who don't know, the pilot who will cross the finish line first is not supposed to be the first at the end. So he will not have a maximum points by the fact he is crossing the finish line at first. The pilots who will have the maximum point is the pilots who have the best average speed on the task, and some of them have crossing the start line way later than this small group. So it is quite spectacular to see the close race like this, but it will not
Yeah,
determine who is the winner of the day. But it is quite interesting because you see that two strategies is facing us. 776 tried uh, tried the thermal, tried the cumulus clouds, and the other doesn't, and they are reaching the next the next cumulus. And at this time, they are so close together that this small decision can make the difference right now for the final show.
exactly. I'm still looking at Tim's stream. He's trying to get the thermal. It's been not easy for the first turn, as usual. Even more when you are flying at full loading, full wing loading like this. We will see if he can manage to have. It looks like something that is stable. There is some energy, and someone is getting just in front of him. Was got just in front of him a few seconds ago. Uh, I believe he's missing around 1,000 meters. From
Mhm.
what I saw, there's 1,000 meters missing, but with a high McCready at 3.3, 3.5
Okay.
meter per second. So he's actually more or less on the glide, but he wants to take more margin because he can fly much faster than flying at
Yes.
McCready 0.
And as you said, they were leaving thermals around 4 meters of average climb rate. So maybe they are trying to find another thermals of this power to
Yeah.
go very fast to the end. But maybe they won't find it. That finding a thermal of around 3 is a good idea. We don't know where Whiskey 22 and 8 kilo are going. Maybe they won't find the thermal they are expecting. So
Yeah,
the the
and
job is
as
not
well,
done.
maybe now if he climbs up to the cloud base with that thermal, maybe he can go straight and directly to that finish
Mhm.
line, while the others will have to do some more kilometers to the right to try to get something else and something that has to be better for sure than what Tim just had. So maybe it was the good option for Tim, but only future will say.
Yeah, and an information that is quite important for those of the viewers who are not playing Condor oftenly. In this version of the simulator, there are not a lot of air mass going down between the cumulus. So the strategy to go very straight to the finish line can be a good idea because the air mass is not quite going down between the cumulus. And if you have enough altitude, you can go straight and fly uh, quite good just using your glide ratio to reach the finish line. And this is one of the improvements that the team of Condor is trying to do to add some air mass going down to add more strategy and to add more technical stuff into the game.
That's good. That was a good one. That was a good one. I'm just gonna check his PGA just to see where he is. Yeah, he's at a good one. I'm not gonna say the value of the climb, but I talked about it more or less before. But I don't want to influence too much the race if people are watching and playing at the same time. Uh, I'm not well. You can see on the screen at what altitude he left, so I can say that around 3,800 meters, and I'm gonna be able to tell you in a few seconds. Is at 118 118 kilometers to the finish line at 3,800 meters and flying at around 2020 kilometers per hour on the screen, and as you
Okay.
can see, ground speed is almost 300. Yeah, it is increasing to 240. So there is, yeah, 50 kilometers maybe pushing him with the TAS and with the wind speed. I've missed the info I wanted.
Yeah, and if it was a good thermal, now we have the information of where the next one is located, so he can go straight in this place to find Echo Juliet Echo.
Yeah, and as you can see, I believe he lost some time because 8 kilo and whiskey 22
Yeah,
are higher, much higher than him, and they are in front of him. So probably he lost 1 or 2 minutes by stopping it at 2.5 meters per second.
yeah, it was
Well,
a good
3.5
choice
probably.
to continue to the next thermal. Here, Ronnie Lindell and Whiskey 22 has made a very good decision, and maybe it is the decision that will leave the previous pilots behind Tango Kilo Mike.
Yeah. So for Tim Madsen, there was 450 meters missing when passing that thermal. So if you are the cloud base, it's good, but it's not enough by 200 meters. So maybe they will just try to pull up a bit on the next ones to get the energy they need, or they will do 1, 2, 5 more turns to make sure that they make it well and that they can fly fast. I would probably maybe slow down a bit if I don't get this energy for the next ones, because I believe they are on profile now. I believe we will see.
So it is quite interesting. If we look at the back of the race, the group we looked before,
Matter.
composed of Uwe Metzler, Ben Fest, Dan Bialogi, uh, has a bit exploded, and the pilots are way further than they were before. So maybe the strategy of one or two pilots have made a good conclusion. Uwe Melzer is now first of this small group. He has turned the second turn
Yeah,
point, and he's tried to find another good climb.
right. And we have Donna Pierluigi, Benfest, and
Yeah,
Whiskey Romeo, Whiskey Vitold, that are about to reach turn point 2 now.
maybe Tim, you can show us Ben Fest
But
if you have it
yeah,
on your.
yeah, would be nice. The Benfest, the German pilot,
So
the
bravo,
world
Marcus.
champion, the first virtual SGP world champion. It's gonna come. It's gonna come. He's reaching a turn point in front. So there's been a big change now in terms of kilometers in the
Yeah,
adaptation of
in the simulation.
of the sim. It happens from time to time. And just behind Ben, sorry, we're gonna have Hotel Lima Echo that is coming. Yeah, it's almost working. It's working now. So
Okay, so
we can jump to Hotel Lima Echo to see maybe pass. No, okay, we can keep going as you want, Tim.
Okay, so here you can see that the strategy is quite the same as the pilots before. They are coming quite low on the second turn point. They are only 2,000 meters, and they will try to find the best thermal to climb up to the cloud base. As we said, the small group we saw earlier, Uwe Metzler, Uniform Whiskey Echo, is a bit ahead of its small group. We have Donna Pierluigi and Ben Fest who are lower and behind. So if we imagine they start together, maybe Uwe Metzler is achieving a best average speed on the tasks than the two other, but we will only know if he has run this race at the end when everybody cross the finish line. I haven't seen any pilots going into the restricted area. Now every pilots have leaves this airspace except one of them, but I think they managed to respect the rule as the organization asked them to fly. This was it was quite interesting.
Yeah, it's a good task. It's really a good task. Um, I like how they build it up, and we're gonna end up in Douglas Cape tonight for the race. So that's where as I said, where the Sailplane Grand Prix was supposed to happen and to take place in South Africa in the first place. So we're gonna be able to see that small airfield. It was very interesting when they bidded for that. For that Sailplane Grand Prix there. It was really interesting to see, and there was a big organization thing willing to do some gliding there. So it was really interesting, actually. So maybe next time they will be there, but it was really nice. We have Emmanuel Cartier, a French man who knows how to fly in Condor as well, for
Yeah.
sure. He flies in real life as well. I think in Bordeaux. Uh, so he's competed already to a few official events, FFVP, so French Federation esports events for quite some time already. He's been on the podium several times, so he really knows how to fly in Condor. So it's really cool to see him tonight as well.
Yeah, only with the first three races on the overall ranking, he's ranked at the 18th place. So it's quite good,
Quite good.
knowing that we have 112 pilots. It
Yeah,
is in the first pack of pilots in overall.
yeah.
So maybe he has a good average speed to make some more additional points and to climb the overall ranking, hopefully.
Yeah, really hope for him. Anyway, if you come and compete, you're gonna get some points. So you can only
Try
get
it.
points if you come. Just try it and try to get the points you can get. Try to get as much points as you can as well. And yeah, that's it. Just try it. Try it out.
Okay, so here we can see few things. We have a first group, we can see, just before Emmanuel Cartier, Eco-Quebec, we saw previously. So I can say maybe 25 pilots that are here in the first pack.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
after we have another pack, we spoke before with Napier Luigi, Wemelzer, Benfest, and so on, and two other pilots on the back, uh, including Wojtek. I don't know if it was in its strategy to fly after every pilot because, as you said, maybe the good pilots are trying to take the starts very late to come back to join the other pilots ahead.
Hmm?
But we can see that there are a lot of distance between Kilo Gillette and Vostok, and maybe he has not managed to join the other pilots and to use their position and their decision to have more informations. I don't know if it was the plan or not.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because sometimes you have the strategy that you prepare before the flights and so on. Maybe yeah, I want to fly with the best today because it's going to be we should fly fast. It's going to be flatlands with homogeneous weather and so on. And sometimes you plan that and you actually miss the slot with those guys. They left just before you and you were below, and you just cannot live with them. And sometimes it's the opposite. You're there already, all set to go in a very good position. There are some interesting guys, but not the best ones, and maybe you're gonna go with them. And it does change, and your strategy does need to adapt to the current situation sometime. And sometimes the best ones are having a bad day as well, and they can have a bad day together. But generally, when you have 3 to 5 very good pilots, not all of them are having a bad day. Not all of them.
Yeah.
So it's yeah, it's difficult to say what's the best option, but you can only know after the race when you have the results for sure.
Okay, so now we are back with the leading pack of pilots, and with the lines of the position, we can see that the strategy may to go straight to the finish line in one leg and do not thermal again. I don't know if the first pilot have enough energy to manage this final glide. Speaking about Tango Kilo Mike or 76, but we will follow them. Maybe Adam here is a bit low to reach this finish line, but the other pilots a bit above, maybe well placed for that.
It's a high ceiling, eh?
Yeah,
Wow, 3,800 meters, more or less everywhere. There was 90 kilometers to go. Now it's around 80 kilometers to go for Robert. TKM probably 75 kilometers to go. So that's quite good. Quite good. Yeah, 303 and it was 375. So
yeah.
yeah,
So
72, 71 kilometers to go now for team at 2,600 meters.
yeah, so 1,020 and 200 meters left.
Yeah,
That's going to be interesting
yeah, yeah,
to
yeah.
see how he manages at the end of the flight.
I'm gonna check his. Yeah, he's still missing 450. Let me check. No, I'm not on the live. So he's 200 meters below the arrival with a McCready at 3.3. But he's actually with McCready 0 at 1,540 meters the above the arrival if he flies at McCready 0. So he's on profile.
Yeah,
Is
okay.
probably on profile at McCready 2.8 or 3 meters per second, but he's trying to get that 3.3, which allows him to fly faster. So he flies quite fast, and he's trying to pull up every time he has a cumulus in front of him to get to that 3.3. And if he doesn't get that 3.3 in the end, if we just reduce to 2.5 or 2 meters per second to end up the flight. Anyway, he's safe now. He's on the final glide, and he should not stop. He will not stop, I believe.
Okay, so now we see some different strategy. We have Al Martin trying to find a thermal. He's quite high, but he tried another thermal and it looks a good thermal. You can see it's instant values, but it is around 4 and 6 meters climb rate, so it's look a very good thermal, and it may be the right time to find it and to go to the final line
Yeah.
right straight and very fast compared to the other who are trying to manage their energy to reach the finish line without any problem and with keeping the safe altitude to the end. Here he managed to climb a bit, and this energy is important right now to feel safe and to be able to go fast without thinking about the safety altitude. And even in straight line, he is flying really straight. You can see
Yeah.
that he didn't have a very bad down ratio. This type of glider, you are flying so horizontally. It's amazing.
It's crazy, huh? You're like, oh, 70 kilometers away. I was gonna leave the one or two thermal.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
no, no, no. There's 3,800 meters cloud base. They've started the glide quite a while ago. They're flying with 18-meter class glider full of water at 600 kilos and so on, and it glides so well. It's just crazy to see how much the technology has improved compared to KA 8 or 6. Uh, compared to 60, 50, 60 years ago, it's absolutely crazy to see. And now it's going to be more and more difficult as we reach the lower levels for the one on final glide, because now, for example, Tim or Alex on the screen is going to have to be able to find the thermal by looking at a cloud that is 2,500 meters above or more than that. So it's going to be more difficult to find the real place, the good spot to gain some energy. So it's going to be yeah, interesting. And Tim, he has to do a right and left turn now because he wants more energy. I would probably not. Well, maybe it's better for him afterwards. So maybe it's a good plan for me.
Yeah,
We
we
will
will
see.
see. And a parameter that help these pilots in the final leg is that the wind is almost perfectly comes from their back,
Yeah,
so you can expect the thermals to be between your position and the cumulus cloud as you are facing it straight if the wind comes behind you. This is helping them to find it because if the wind was very cross to
yeah.
the leg, it would be very very difficult.
Yeah, much more difficult. Now it's really an easy glide for them. If they just take the altitude, they are safe because the wind is pushing so much in their back that they're gonna be safe. So, but be careful because in real life and in Condor, but less in Condor, I believe. In real life, when you go this fast with turn wind like this, it can be difficult when you're looking for a good climb to find a good climb because you're gonna pass so fast through the thermals that sometimes up you realize that it's a good one and it's gonna be already too late. It's behind you and you need to do a big U-turn and to lose 1 minute to be able to find it again because you went too fast into that thermal because the wind is pushing you quite fast. So it's a bit weird the flying with downwind on the final leg, but that's what the pilots prefer because it's much safer like this. You have much more margin than with headwind, and sometimes with the wind, it's sometimes increases when you get very low, and when you have headwind, you're like, oh, I'm 10 kilometers away, and it's still not. I'm not gonna make in the end. You were like, maybe it's gonna be good, but no, it's not good, and it's so frustrating to end up 3 kilometers away from the airfield because you didn't manage to get the proper altitude before you thought
Yeah.
it would be okay and not in the end. So it's so much easier when you get downwind like this.
And it is a particular time in the race because you're in your mindset, you think you have finished the race, you think you have done the job, and finally you find out that there is some meters missing, so you have to replan everything. And as you said,
Yeah,
you may left the plane A, plane B, plane C because you thought you were done, but
yeah,
now you have to rethink about everything, and that's when you are taking bad decision. It can be very, very demonstrating this time of the race at the end. If you haven't managed your final glide well, it can be devastating for your results.
yeah. I believe, yeah, Tim Madsen is now pulling and pushing and pulling. If you're looking above, you can see three cumuluses in a line, in a straight line, and he's just trying to get some energy from all of them to get that 200 meters that we are missing. Now there is only 100 meters missing for him, even less than that. Yeah, he's pulled a lot. It's really good. It's really good.
Yeah,
He's on profile for what he wanted to have, which is 3.3.
now we have 700 meters left for about 40 kilometers, so it's quite good again
Yeah.
for him.
The just a reminder, the minimum altitude for arrival is 1,300 meters,
Yeah.
from what I see. So he has 700 meters indeed.
Yeah, and this at this time, I don't know if he used the external view of Condor, but it's not the time to see behind you because
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
Tim, if you look behind Tim, you will
You're like,
see the
ah,
army of pilots who are
yeah, and
focusing on.
he's made some good decisions. You know, we are
Yeah,
talking about yeah, it was not as good as expected. Ronnie Lindell flew better and so on, but then in the end,
yeah,
Ronnie is not there anymore. I don't even know where is Ronnie. I hope nothing happened to him with the guy who was in front. Could not check that quickly because we're laughing at that. Can I get? Yeah, yeah. I see a result of Ronnie and of Jeroen and of Xavier. So I bet they outlanded somewhere. So maybe there's been a problem with Ronnie, no? Or do you have him meaning? Okay, well, the info is autopilot crashed, but I don't know what happened, if it was a mid-air collision or if it was something else, if it was condor crash or whatever, or if he's been able to continue the flight outside of the online task. We're gonna see, and Jeroen Jenen as well as had an issue, from what I see. Is that correct?
Yeah, I can't see him
Yes.
on the
So
race.
I believe he's had maybe a mid-air as well, or they've had a mid-air together. I think Jeroen was behind. So that's why Tim is in front now, because 8 Kilo was in front for sure. And I was starting to wonder, yeah, what happened to 8 Kilo, so that Tim
Yeah, you're right.
was first. Yeah. So we spotted something that happened. There are only three pilots that had issues, from what I see on Condor Club. So we will look at that after the race and in the coming days, to confirm what happened to them. Anyway, so Tim is well on profile to arrive safely. It's really good, really really good.
And maybe we can have a look to the Q number map before following team to the finish line, because
Yeah.
as we will see, we spoke before about two two groups of pilots, and now on the last leg, it is very linear. Now we can see that all the pilots are on the very straight line between the second turn point and the finish line, and I think we will see a regular arrival and pilots arriving uh, on their own at regular time. It will be quite interesting to see the biggest group arriving together and to try to reach some points at the end. And yeah, we will see that.
We will see. I'm looking forward, but it's really interesting to see the kind of the queue that is being building up. Like the
Yeah.
people are trying to get the altitude, and then they just start the glide, and it's just about the last thermal that you get. The better it is, the higher you will be in the queue to cross that line in the first, well, at least amongst the first pilots. Can When we get back to Condor, can we get some average speed from the top 20 coming in,
Yeah.
so that we can more or less already have some quotes from those guys? So we
Wow.
have, yeah,
Okay.
Timbut is the first one, so that's normal to get that speed, because it's flying quite fast. We can see Alex, so he's at 161 kph. Alex Alpha Echo X-ray 164 kilometers per hour. He's behind, so if he's flying at the same speed, he will get more points than Tim. So he's virtually the first pilot. Marcin May is behind at 157 more or less kph, starting the glide as well. I believe with that speed, if he is 20 kilometers behind, maybe he will catch up Tim as well on the scale on the results. Same from Zulu Bravo Yankee, the Polish guy. Maybe it will be the same for him. Maybe it will be more or less around the 161, 165 when reaching the finish line. Will be interesting. Thank you, Tim. So that's around 140, 165 kilometers per hour so far. Um, so upon arrival, 160 average for the pilots, I guess. Maybe more. We don't know for the guys behind. So it will be interesting. I believe Benfest and the German guys flew faster than 161. I believe.
Yeah, they were very fast on the first leg
Yeah.
than the other. And for your information, the first pilot who has turned the second top one was 40 minutes ago. So maybe just a few minutes, team will arrive. So yeah, nobody has bet on, on the comments, but they have managed to fly the last leg for about 50 minutes, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's crazy when I look at the Kunam, where Benfest and Uwe, where Uwe is crazy. If he started with Ben, with Donapierre and with Vitold, if they all started together as I thought it was, and with Oscar 9,
I think so, yes.
uh, if Uwe and Oscar 9 there indeed started with them, wow, it's gonna be a great results for those guys. Because yeah, Emmanuel Cartier is just in front of them for what, 15, 20 kilometers, so that's nothing, just a few minutes. So maybe there's going to be some pilots at 180, 200 kilometers per hour. I have no idea. We're going to see the results. It's not going to take a lot of time to get the results tonight. That's crazy. That's
Yeah,
a crazy final glide. Huh? Yeah.
Who has made a very, very great race, I think.
Wow. Gonna take a screenshot of that. It's really cool.
Oh, maybe we can have a bit of mistake here on the final glide.
Oh yeah.
You can see the altitude is just below the safety altitude.
Yeah, so they can go below before, but they need to
Yeah,
pass at the line, not like after or whatever. At the line, they need to be at minimum above 1,300 meters. Minimum. It's really at the line. It's not before or after. It has to be there.
yeah. So 10 kilometers to go, 70 meters below the safety altitudes. He has enough speed. We hope that everything is well calculated.
Yeah, I hope.
Maybe just before you can see the speed of the pilot just behind. Are they arriving with more speed? No, it's quite the same speed, so we won't see a remontada of of any pilots, I see.
That's good. I'm watching at Team Stream. We have Jon Verscour, I believe, pilot from the Netherlands. That's my bet. I need to check just to make sure, so there is no insult. But that's more than probable.
And
The
maybe
big
Tim, you can
probability.
go back to Tango Kilo Mike team to see the crossing the finish line.
Thank you. Nice. So he's gonna arrive at Douglas Cape. Douglas Cape. So that's the airfield where the SGP was supposed to happen. Nice.
Okay, so 5 kilometers away from the finish line. He managed to do a very great race, especially in the last leg where he made good decision alone without the information of the others, and it was very interesting to follow.
He will make it. He will make it. I've seen
Yeah,
that
yeah.
he has enough energy to pull up and to be at. He has 130 meters of margin to get there. I don't know what he's doing though.
If he does forget, oi,
I believe he forgot. No.
we will
Well,
see.
bad luck, team. Not good, team. Not good. But that's a nice view of the. Yeah, I don't know how we say that in English. The silo.
I don't know.
Sorry. But that's a cool image.
Interesting.
So interesting, yeah, interesting. So the airfield is gonna be just right there. We're gonna see it now. Yay! Let's go. Don't forget to drop the water.
And
Yeah,
he
good. I don't think
may
he's
listen us.
listening to me. I think he's just he does know when to do it.
Okay, so now we can see that
Johnny
the other
did
pilots were a bit lower. a
He
bit.
did not forget about it,
Yeah.
John. I don't know if he's listening or not. Don't make the mistake 1,300 meters.
Uh, I think he didn't forget from the beginning because,
Yeah,
as you can see, the speed is about 230
yeah.
kilometers. So I think he calculated well, and now he's safe. He has speed, he has altitude. So well done, John. You managed to fly the race safe.
Yeah, it's
And
already a victory, a very good thing to do.
yeah,
You can tick a box on a to-do list.
and
Flew a race fast and safely.
yeah, and maybe you can see behind John if there are other pilots. Yeah, Eco Giuliateco and all the others who are joining the finishers. Okay, so Laszlo with safe altitude, and Martin with a lot of speed just at the safe altitude, so it's going to be okay for him.
Very good. Yeah, I believe you will not forget
Oh,
Arne.
and after that, I think we have a small group of 5 pilots who arrived at the same time. Even in Cunimb, their names are grouped together, so I think they are they are close.
They're close. They're close. It's gonna be very interesting for the group with Marcin May behind KMI, so that knows from Hungary, Stewart Unschall in Golf Hotel Kilo. We're gonna have them on the screen after Arne Martin is crossing the line
And maybe Tim, you can show us the average speed of
of the
Tim.
first ones. Yeah,
Yeah,
please.
before he
it's
disconnect.
it's coming up. It's coming up. So we have
Okay,
165.
Alpha Mike.
I'm gonna take some notes, guys.
I'm doing that right now.
You are doing that. Okay, that's really good. I'll give you that stuff. That's your job.
Okay,
We have
mission.
KMI 160.5, so that's going to be lower than the first one. Same for Stewart and Scholl. I'm not sure it will go above 165. It's at 162.7 now. We have Zulu Bravo Yankee who will go above, with at almost 165 already. So Zulu Bravo Yankee will
Yeah,
be first position, is 7 kilometers behind the group of KMI. Can we get to yeah we can we get to KMI please, with a close view? And with a close view we should be able to spot the guys on the left. We should have Golf Hotel Kilo on the left somewhere, Marcin May and Papa Tango Yankee. No, above, below,
one
below.
below.
One below is there, so that's Oscar November X-ray. Voila, there you go, on the left in front. Yeah, you can jump to Golf Hotel Kilo if you want, or May,
Oh,
so that we have those guys.
oh, I can see that Alpha Echo X-ray is taking a thermal, so its
Yeah,
average speed is going to going down.
yeah, but I believe he heard the 1,300 meters that we said again,
Ah,
and
okay.
maybe that did ring a bell in his mind, and he was like, ah,
And
that's
yeah,
not
as we
enough.
said
Yeah,
before, the final decision when you don't have a lot of
margin.
possibilities,
Yeah.
you do what you can, and it's good like this.
Yeah, and it's very good what he did actually, because maybe he just realized now. We said it, or he realized by himself, and instead of just pushing and going forward and trying to get that 1,300, knowing that he will not get it and get penalties, is accepting already the fact that he's made a mistake and that he will lose points, and he's trying to do his best to manage that issue that he has, to try to compensate that for the mistake he made as best as he can. So it's already a very good point to
And
see.
maybe Mike Alpha Yankee will take the first place. We will see in a few seconds. And yes, Mike Alpha Yankee took the first place. 167.3 kilometers.
Ah. Well parked. Well done, guys. They're all waiting side by side. Count on you guys to do nice screenshots and to share it on Discord or on Facebook or somewhere else. But please try to do that. It's your last challenge of the day. So 167.3 for May. Oh, and GHK, so Stewart did make it above Arne Martin. So that's
Yeah.
good to see. Zulu Bravo Yankee is now first place at 167.4 already. We can say that. And I'm really looking forward to see the speed of Uwe Meltzer. I think it's gonna be crazy. Okay, Harald. Oh, it's gonna be tight. It's gonna be too low. It's gonna be too low. Yeah. Sorry, Harald. I think you just realized now. Yeah, but that happens. Huh? I mean, in competition, even in real life, it happens to forget some points like this, and well, some important points like this. Yeah, I must finish race above that altitude and so on. And you do the mistake once, and then basically you will not forget. So it's normal. We will every race, even next year for the real uh, and the official World Gliding Championship, we will have people doing that because it's going to be the first time they do that mistake. And then afterwards, they will not forget anymore. But everyone needs to do that mistake at least once. 50 meters, 200 meters, whatever, they need to do the mistake. It's always like this. Yeah.
And Zulu Brabanki taking the lead.
So at 169.5 exactly. Very good. Well done. Very well done. So two Polish pilots leading, and then it's Stewart from the UK, Arne Martin from Norway, and Robert Hogan in Romeo Hotel 2. So yeah, Alpha
Uh,
Echo X-Ray managed to get above 1,300. So it's good. Well done, Alex, to realize that mistake.
and to fly it
Adam.
safe until the end.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Well
clever.
done. Well done. Very well done. We have Adam from Poland, I believe as well, who is here. Really good.
Okay, so now looking for the results. I don't know if a lot of pilots can compete with the first speed. So we are waiting for Uwe and Benfest and other pilots. Maybe we can have a look on the QNAM where they are and to go watch them. So yeah, they are in the middle of the last leg. I think they have 70 or 80 kilometers left, and they group together. I think Donna Pierluigi, Uwe Melzer, and Ben Fest are flying together. I don't know if they are at the same altitude, but they are quite close to each other. Maybe let's see the Condor of Benfest, who is leading this small group. Benfest is currently at 2,500 meters. And Uwe is a bit higher, just and just Donna Pierluigi is also at 2,500 meters. And I think it was the attitude of the overall pilots in there. Oh, okay. So they are taking another climb. Uwe is higher, and that's what we speak about a few moments ago. We saw Uwe in front of the other pilots of its group a few minutes ago, And now on the map they were all grouped, but finally Uwe has a bit more altitude, so he has more energy and can go ahead of the other pilots, and he goes straight to the finish line. I don't know if we will see its average speed tonight.
I am not sure. We need to.
Yes, because
I don't know if there is an option just below. We have altitude, speed value, and distance flown. I don't know, Tim, if we have another option to add the average speed of that specific pilot at the time. No, not yet. Maybe for the next races we can try to add that. I believe it's feasible to do it, but maybe it will need some rebuilding the code to be able to do it. But I believe it's we are able to do it.
okay, so maybe we'll have a look on the average speed and to settle who are the firsts for now.
Yeah, it's not a really good climb, by the way.
Yeah,
What we're seeing on the screen, the cumulus is not good or not very good at all, and they need to leave with only 2 meters per second. And you see all of those pilots who were at the back, they catched up quite some pilots, but now it's becoming more difficult because the cumuluses are becoming less and less good on the glide. And now they're just gonna have one option, which is the cumulus 40 kilometers away here, just in between the finish and the start that you see on the screen. So it's not going to be easy for them to finish and to fly as fast as maybe they wanted before. Or they can just try to fly as fast as they wanted before, but they are taking quite some risk. And they may end up low if the next one doesn't work. So it's a challenge for them now. Very interesting.
yeah. Because the
Anyway,
first pilots we saw earlier find out very good thermal in the last leg.
yeah,
Team took a 6 meter or something like that, so it was very interesting for him. And now, as we can see, Benfest and Donapia has climbed at around 2 meters rate, so it's very different. I don't know if the time in the simulation has a role in this climb
yeah,
rate, but
yeah.
uh, we can expect it.
It has an impact. The race was scheduled in autumn, something like this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and when it's noon on Condor, it's when the sun is exactly above. But it's been noon for quite some time now, and in autumn, the thermals are getting weaker after 3 hours, I guess. Well, much weaker maybe after 3 hours. I'm not 100% sure. It depends where you are in autumn, but it's more or less how it works. Yeah, we will see.
Okay, so 55 kilometers to go from Benfest for Benfest. Maybe we can go to Emmanuel Cartier, who is close to the finish line, to have an idea of its average speed and how we fly and manage the end of the race.
Let's
Okay.
check it out.
So again, we traveled from a long distance in the simulation, so we can see some distortion of the landscape, but it
Uh,
will be
it,
okay.
it will work in a few seconds. Voilà.
Okay, so yeah, 15 kilometers to go. He is 100 meters above the safety altitude, and he has plenty of speed. That's good, Emmanuel. You are doing great for the end. And with him, we have Whiskey Romeo Uniform, who is a bit lower, but he's flying as fast as Emmanuel. Or
That's a good view. I like it. Thank you, Tim. I like the close-ups. You need to tell us, guys, in the comments and so on, Uh, which views you like when doing live streamings? Do you like the close-ups or have a more general view of the race, how it works and so on? It helps us. Helps us a lot to develop the sport afterwards. We really need to have feedback for from your point of view as well.
I don't know if they like the point of view, but comments from Velivoj have said that he likes our French accent, so
Yeah.
he can understand English better, and I think he will understand our English better and better as the night is coming.
That's correct. It's almost midnight here in the middle of Europe. We're gonna probably look at the next ones. How far is Benfest from the arrival? Well, after Emmanuel is coming, just far away. How much is far away? I'm just gonna check quickly on the map as well. Yeah, thank you. So he is. I see Uwe is here. Ben,
Yeah, maybe
just
30 kilometers, I guess.
Uwe is 1, 2, 3, 40 kilometers away, I believe. 40 kilometers away, so that's maybe 10, 12 minutes, maybe. So midnight, I guess, for those guys.
Maybe you can go back to Emmanuel Cartier to
Yeah,
see arrival. Oh, it
yeah.
just passed
He
the
crossed
finish
the
line.
line with Whiskey Romeo uniform. And who's behind? Are they high enough, the group behind? I've adopted if they can make it at 1,300 and just behind November Pop X-Ray. Yeah, they are a bit below, but that should be okay. We have Oscar 9. So Oscar 9 is Frank Schwerzweger, who flew, I believe, with Uwe and who made a better arrival. What a better climb, I believe.
And
Richard Badam.
maybe
And
Tim, you can show us the average speed if some pilots have made a better performance than pilots we see
yeah, I
before.
believe if the first pilots have disconnected, we can now have the next top
Others.
20 of the pilots who arrived. Voilà, 163.9 for Robert, KMI 163. Who is behind? Oscar 9 157. That's the most interesting part.
Yeah, so the best average speed is still Zulu Bravo Yankee with 169.5 kilometers, so around 6 kilometers more than Romeo Hotel 2 right here.
Yeah. And so far from what I see on the screen, no one is close to that 165. No one
Not
is
yet,
close to that. Uh,
but
Oscar 9, it depends how far he is. I can tell you, wait, I take my thumb on the screen. 5 is 5, 10, 15, almost 20 kilometers away. Is that correct, more or less? We can see that by jumping to later on to Oscar 9, just to confirm. So I believe in it was so that's it. So 20 kilometers away. 20 kilometers, can he get from 158 to 166? What's the best speed again, Tim? Gilles?
169.5.
169.5, and
Yeah,
that was from Rich Zanki Bravo Yankee. Yeah, correct. The Polish pilot. Okay. So 169. Yeah.
yeah,
169.5. Yeah, that's correct.
yeah.
Yeah. So
And
he's not close to that 169.
no,
I
but
believe.
actually, the list we can see here is made of almost 15 pilots that have finished the race. So we can't see the
Yeah.
pilots after. I think the 15 first have made it, so they will not disappear until they disconnect. And
Yeah.
after that, we may see what is the performance of the pilots we are looking for, like Uwe Benfest, Donapierre, and others.
Yeah, so please, guys, when you land, please disconnect ASAP. disconnect when you land. Save your flight, save your FTR, save your IDC, whatever. Save your FTR, send it to Condor Club just afterwards. And please do send your files to Condor Club. If you don't find your FTR because you forgot to save, go to last track or last file, last flight.ftr in your documents and Condor. You will find your flight, but please do it as soon as you land. You leave the flight, you exit the flight, and you transmit it to condor.club so that we get results, proper results, as soon as possible. Thank you, guys.
Yes, so right now we have two Poland pilots on the podium. Zulu Bravo Yankee, Zbigniew, and Mike Alpha Yankee, Marcin May, and the British pilot Stewart Henshaw, Golf Oscar Kilo, and they are between 169 and 165 kilometers at average speed. So it was quite quick, quite fast, and we can now see OMS average speed at that time is 157 kilometers per hour. So we will see if we manage to take 10 kilometers or 12 kilometers of average speed until the end. That is the question of the day. Okay.
Very good, Frank. Frank Schwetzweger. So yeah, 161. Huh? So it's gonna be 161.2 or something like this upon reaching the finish line. So that's not enough, and it needs to
Yeah.
be at 1,300. It's gonna be.
It is quite interesting to see that the pilots who haven't finished the race are quite far from the best value right now.
Yeah, they are quite far from that. Benfest 153. Yeah, Donapierre 153.8. That's not gonna be enough, guys. That's not gonna be enough. So I believe we can do a recap of the top three. It should not move much more than that. Uwe 158.5 is not gonna be enough
I don't
because
think so.
he's just reaching the finish line now.
Yeah, and he
So
has 11 kilometers to take. So
yeah, we can do a recap. Then I
so
have an updated version of yeah.
So yeah, I can do the recap. So it was
Yep.
the fourth race of the FIA World Series. The thing took place in South Africa, a race of 375 kilometers, won by the Poland pilots Zbigniew Ktos, Zulu Bravo Yankee, with an average speed of 169.5 kilometers. The second pilot is Marcin May, also from Poland, Mike Alpha Yankee, with an average speed of 167.3 kilometers, and the podium is completed by the British pilots Stewart Henshaw, Golf Oscar Kilo, with an average speed of 165.8 kilometers. And as we see, the other pilots may not reach this average speed, so I could say that we have our podium tonight.
That's correct. Thank you very much, Jean-David, for tonight. The next race is going to be on the 6th of April in about 15 days from now in Germany, probably on landscape AA2, as we said, in well, south of Munich. That's what's in our mind so far, but it may change. We will advise if there is a change and where it will be, but that's plan A. As we talked about all the plans tonight, that's something maybe you learned by following the stream. Plan A, B, C, when you're flying a glider, very important to anticipate what's next. So Germany in 15 days, then the UK on the 1st of May, 3 weeks later. Thank you very much for following us tonight. Thank you very much, Jean-David, for the great start of this live. To Timothée, who's made a great job as well, really great job doing the live streaming in the back. So thank you to you guys. The last word for you, Jean-David. Thank you.
Yeah, and we had a thank you for the guy who made the scene, for the guy who made the task, and for Sebastian for every informatical stuff. And thank you, Antoine, for joining me for this great event tonight. And let's see in Germany, maybe.
Thank you. Good evening, guys. Bye bye.
Good evening. Bye.